Hey guys, it is Monday night and I have an update for you. Midnight Blue Light Special by Seanan McGuire, the second book in the Encrypted series. I finished it. It was pretty good. I didn't like it as much as I liked the first book, but that has okay. So, in this series, we are following a family of cryptozoologists. They are studying the monsters. They are liaisoning with the monsters. They're ensuring that they don't kill humans, and as long as the monsters follow the rules of a polite society, the family lets them be. And so we followed Verity as she was in the first book, as she was trying to make it as a ballroom dancer, and then they sent a Covenant agent shows up in her town, and all this other stuff is happening. And when I really liked the story, and it was really good. And then when I got to the end of that first book, it seemed almost inevitable what the second book was going to be, that the Covenant was going to send more agents to see if the city was in need of a purge, like kill all the cryptids in the city. And so when I read the second book, I was just like, well, yeah, of course that's what this is going to be about. And it doesn't take away from the fact that it was good and it was action packed. And I really did like finishing up this part with Verity, but I don't know. I guess it just wasn't quite what I wanted. So it's still really good. And I really did enjoy it. It was just more of a 4-star read instead of like a 4.5 or 5. This book does conclude Verity's role as narrator. So because we're following the family of cryptozoologists, we actually in the series do jump around perspectives. So I believe we do eventually come back to her as the narrator, but not for a while. The next book is actually narrated by her brother Alex. So I am still excited to see what happens next. I am glad. I loved seeing some of these characters again. The action was really good. It was very fast paced. It really ran. Just, I was hoping for a little bit more. So I was hoping for a 5-star book, let's be real, but it just wasn't quite there. So next I am going to pick up Mind Games by Kiersten White, which is the first book of a duology, and I don't really actually know almost anything about this. I know it's about two sisters, and one is able to do some sort of special powers with her mind, and then her sister protects her, but I don't really remember how. I remember liking it the first time that I read. This will be a reread, but I don't remember anything about this. So, I should reread it before I read the second book in the series, which is actually up here, over here. But I remember really liking it. I didn't think it was spectacular, but I did like it, and I thought that it was very interesting. So it's a really short book. It's only like 230 pages, I think. So I should be able to fly through this. You should see another update from me very, very soon. So until then, bye. Hey guys, it is Thursday afternoon, Halloween, happy Halloween. And I have an update. I finished this book, which was so good. It was it was just so good. It was so interesting how it was written. It follows the two different sisters, Fia and Annie, and it switches between their perspective. It also switches between things that are happening present day and in the past. The story was interesting. This is a duology of two books that are about 250 pages each. And I understand why they broke it up into two different books. However, I think that I do think that the storyline is more like one big storyline. Where it ended here was a good stopping point for this book. However, it is just a resting point for this storyline. And so I'm very eager to figure out to go ahead and read the next book and finish out this storyline. But yeah, I thought it was very good. I thought it was very interesting, and I think that I haven't really heard anybody. I mean, okay, it is an older book, right? So I recognize that people aren't going to be talking about older books as much, but I don't think I even really heard anything about this when it came out. And I'm very surprised. It was just so, I liked it so much. And it was more, I mean, this, if you look at the storyline, it's fairly typical. The characters themselves are not, like, Annie is not an amazingly, like, unique individual. Fia is definitely more unique, but how the writing is just, I don't even know how to describe it. I'm actually thinking that I might do a full review on this book, just because I do think that it should be dived into a little bit deeper. So, but yeah, I am now done with this book. It is going to be the last book that I finish for the month of October, because there is no way that I'm going to finish anything else. But with that, I will pick up. This is the book that I'm going to pick up next. The Queen is Dead by Kate Locke. It is book 2 in the Immortal Empire series, which is just, you know, the premise of the series being, what if Queen Victoria is still alive because she's a vampire? And our main character of Xandra is, I think, half vampire. Um, when we meet her in the first book, I believe she and her siblings are half vampire. Um, and there's not a whole lot that I can say about the plot of this book, because it spoils the plot for the first book. Um, but in addition to all the spoilery kind of things, she is also there. They she is now a murder suspect, so she's gonna have to kind of get out of that. I do think it's a very interesting take to see kind of. I think that the world building in this is very, very interesting, because when you talk about, okay, well, what if Queen Victoria never died? Well, how would that have an impact upon today's world, and how would it have progressed? How would it be the same, and how would it be different? And I think it's very cool. I think the part that I like the best. I do like the storyline. I like the character, or I like the story of the first one, and I did like the characters, but it was really interesting to see the mix of, like, present day stuff that as we would recognize it, with present day stuff that were like, oh yeah, that makes sense that they would do it that way. Anyway, I'm rambling a little bit, but this I am pretty excited to see how this goes. I'm very hopeful that it will be as good as the first one. And yeah, that's it. So I will see you guys in the next clip. Bye. Hey guys, it is Saturday night, so it is time for my end of the week reading vlog clip. And I'm about 75 pages into The Queen is Dead by Kate Locke. I'm actually really enjoying this book. I just haven't really had a whole lot of time to read it. I finished the last book, Mind Games, right before Halloween, and then Halloween hit, and it was just like a ton of bricks. And then I was like, okay, it's cool. I have Friday. And then I remembered, oh yeah, I decided I'm doing National Novel Writing Month this year, because I'm supporting a friend who wanted to do it. And so I was just like, oh yeah, I have to actually write. And then I was like, it's okay. I still have Saturday. And then I ended up knitting for like 5 hours today to try to finish up this project. And I'm like, no regrets, guys, really, no regrets. But that means that I am only 75 pages in. But I do remember why I like this book, and I can actually give a little bit more information about what's happening in that. Xandra, who we met, is our main character. She has a bunch of siblings who are half vampire. They all share the same vampire dad, and her brother gets kidnapped, and so or at least her brother goes missing, and she has to kind of determine if it was a kidnapping or he just kind of left of his own accord or what. And so that's like the main plot line for this book, and then I just can't talk about any of the like overarching plots because it's super spoilery for the first book. But I remember why I like it. It's got a very interesting world. I do think that Kate Locke, the author, is doing a much better job this time of the world building. Um, I thought that the world building was interesting in the first book. It's just she kind of dropped us in and then like used particular terms that of course the main character would know, but then like doesn't explain it for the readers very well, or like the explanation would have another like word that the readers wouldn't necessarily know. So not great. But this book she did a much better job of like, you know, for example, there's like these junkies essentially that are called bubonic betties, and she gave like a one sentence explanation as to who these people were, and I was just like, oh, okay, yeah, I remember that, and it makes sense within the story. So I do think that she's doing much better on like helping the reader along with the world building and it being I think it's a very interesting world concept. So I'm kind of glad to be able to really dive into that world building a little bit. Um, and so I mean, like I'm only 75 pages in, so I don't have a ton else to say about it, but I am pretty excited to, like, I am sure that it will just absolutely fly. It's a super easy read, so I should have another update for you in the next reading vlog very soon. But until then, have happy reading, and I will see you in the next vlog. Bye.